You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Feel like who art Ed?
We'll try to spice it.
Who art Ed? Mr. Wood art Ed me.
Good. Either way, it's ambiguous. It works on so many levels.
I know.
That's off to a great start.
Welcome to Who Arted, where we explore visual arts in an audio medium. I'm your host, Kyle Wood, and today we're going to have a quick update on the Arts Madness tournament. Now, before I get into what's happening in round 4, just a quick summary of some of the things we saw in round 3. The closest match in round 3 was between Sharuvi Agrawal and Janet Sobel. The two of them were within just a few votes of each other, trading the lead for most of the week. But in the end, Agrawal came out about 50 votes ahead of Sobel. While Sobel and Agrawal had the closest race, on the other end of the spectrum, Diego Rivera was crushed by Hokusai's Great Wave, which won by a margin of 636 votes. Now, as I look ahead to round 4, only 8 artists remain. Gustave Eiffel will be facing off against Claude Monet in the Battle of the French Icons. Sharuvi Agrawal is going head-to-head with Vincent van Gogh. As a lifelong Simpsons fan, it pains me to say that Matt Groening was knocked out by Frank Lloyd Wright. While I'm naturally saddened to see Groening eliminated, it does mean that in round 4, we will have Falling Water up against The Great Wave. Two pieces inspired by forces of nature and, I guess more specifically, gravitational pull on water, but only one can survive and advance to the final 4. In our final matchup for the week, we have Shigeru Miyamoto up against Leonardo da Vinci. Miyamoto first wanted to be a manga artist, but felt intimidated by the talented artists around him in school. He ended up doing all right for himself, and not just in this tournament. Early in his career, he was doing industrial design, and then he went from designing game cases to developing some of the greatest video game franchises in history, including Mario and The Legend of Zelda. Leonardo, of course, was the great artist and scientist of the Italian Renaissance. His work has been held up for centuries as a symbol of the pinnacle of artistic achievement. It'll be interesting to see how that old traditional work stands up against new media. Now, as always, you can vote for your favorites all week at whoartedpodcast.com/vote. Once again, go to whoartedpodcast.com/vote to weigh in on your favorites in this week's matches.
This concludes this week's episode of Who Arted, part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. If you found this tolerable, please leave a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. You can find images of the work being discussed this week and every week on social media at Who Arted Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and of course on the website whoartedpodcast.com. Podcast done.